Index investors beware. The NASDAQ is rebalancing next week. The special rebalance will not result in the removal or addition of securities. Instead, is intended to reduce the index's concentration in its largest constituents. Why NASDAQ had to decap the Big Six. And hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Chris. If you don't know, this is actually really interesting. Well, first, the big tech companies have been rallying this year. You guys probably know is Apple, Netflix, Nvidia, Tesla, etc., Microsoft. And it's crazy because essentially what's going on is that popular QQQ, which is, I believe, is the top 100 NASDAQ companies, the big ones essentially are overbalanced, overweighted, and you just get too much concentration / money in just a few companies. And so they're going to be changing the reallocations next week, and we'll see what happens. Evidently, though, this is saying here ETFs, are doing fine as of now, but again, it'll happen next week, the rebalance. There's a couple big news I want to share with you guys too regarding Microsoft and Netflix. I think those are probably the biggest stories of the day as we're in earnings season. Starting with Microsoft, they announced they're going to have this thing called Copilot, AI powered, and they want to charge you $30 a month. And this is going to be, I believe, in addition to what you already pay for your Microsoft 365 business. So it's very interesting because we've been AI hyping, I guess, the last couple of months now, NVIDIA being the biggest beneficiary of the AI hype. And so then Microsoft, they're saying, hey, I want to be on board with this thing as well. To be fair to Microsoft, though, they're part of the open with AI chat GPT thing, and their stock has been on a tear. You can see here it's up 42% on the year, PE ratio of 39. I laugh because usually like these kind of companies, like really big companies, don't move this much, right? It's really quite a lot. And the thing I want to point out regarding the Microsoft thing, go back to here and just get your opinion is, sure, I get it. There's a new technology out there. You want to charge $30 a month. But the question is, are companies / regular people, are they going to decide to pay the extra money, right? Do you want to fork over another $30 a month, per account? So that would be, maybe I think it was saying like 50% increase. Actually, yeah, 50% more per month for enterprise users. And moreover, actually, this is sort of, I skipped ahead, but I can show you guys here. You can read the other headline because I think it's definitely related. Most outsourced quarters in India will be gone in 2 years due to AI, stability AI predicts. So, I wonder, and this is something that I think is a possibility is, will companies say, hey, we're going to actually, yes, invest and say, spending an extra $30 a month for AI, and then we're just going to fire a bunch of employees. So, it may seem great for corporate, but if people end up losing their jobs, and here they're just saying India, but I think a lot of white collar jobs may be at risk. And this is something that I mean several times on this channel. We'll probably have a rise of high paying blue collar jobs that just can't be replaced by robots, be it car repair, air conditioning, heating repair, this kind of stuff, solar panel installation, any number of things that just can't be replaced by robots or AI. But yeah, some of these coder jobs may go away. I think that is a possibility, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. That's why I ask you guys. I myself, I use Google services. I'm more of a Google person. I don't really care for the Microsoft stuff. However, if you do work at certain companies or organizations, they've already chosen that it's Microsoft Teams. You're going to like it because that's what we've chosen, et cetera. And some people that are so used to that environment that I think it'd be easy to transition over. So like I said, I'm more of a Google person myself, but I totally get it. A lot of people really prefer Microsoft. Also too, Microsoft, I guess the Activision deal is going forward from what I can tell. There was something recently I saw that they made a deal with keeping, I think it's the Call of Duty franchise with Sony PlayStation, because essentially Xbox has a lot of exclusive, and Microsoft makes money off Xbox. But the idea, though, is that is a monopoly, and can they go through and buy more publishers? So that's an interesting thing to watch. But Microsoft's a very, very big company, so it's more than just AI. However, it doesn't mean you pay any price. To me, it seems pretty expensive. But if you're following what sort of Wall Street's saying, they say, hey, strong buy. And they, as of yesterday, are a couple of the ones. It was Jefferies, KeyBank, Mizuno. They're saying around 10% upside from here. You can take a look at this for yourself. I was looking at sort of the last earnings, and I believe Microsoft earnings is I think it's the 25th of July, and then the rebalance of the QQQ, I believe, is the 24th. So right after the rebalance, Their last earnings, I can see here, they had revenue up by 7%, operating expenses up 7%. That was a wash. Net income up 9%, net profit margin up 2%, earnings per share up 10%, and EBITDA up 7%. So 40 PEC does seem pretty high to me, but it is what it is. And, the market's been pumping. If you ask the robots, though, they suggest a 12% overvalued with a fair value of 307. And that's Microsoft. I also want to point out, too, regarding the AI situation, I'm actually writing a book, not necessarily about AI, but it's called The Positive Angle. And I've been working on this for the last, since March. I just really started writing. And I think it's going to be done in the next couple of weeks. I mentioned the AI thing is because when you read my book, and I highly suggest you do, you'll see that a human wrote it. I wrote it, right? And I think in order to maintain relevance in this world, you have to be able to do things that the robots can't do. And you'll see for yourself that there's just, when you write your own story and you have your own thoughts and stuff like that, it's just not something that robots can replace. Whereas, say, and this is what I asked you guys before, something like coding, is that something that yes, we could just completely replace humans, or, for people who are in computers, is coding yet, still creative enough and human enough that you can't use robots. But yes, my book, you couldn't have a robot replace it. It's like if I said, hey, what's your life story, that kind of thing, you write it. And I'm looking forward for everyone to see it. So I'll keep plugging it every now and then, but I just want to mention this is a working cover. So this is not the final cover, or it might be, but I've been working on how I'm going to want it to look. Moving on, again, I mentioned there are news of both Netflix and Microsoft. This is what I just want to mention again. Hollywood is on strike, and there was a really great episode of Black Mirror called Joan is Awful. If you haven't seen it yet, please do, because I think it really captures sort of the era that we're in and the anxiety that we have. I don't want to ruin anything, but it's Joan is Awful. It's a Black Mirror episode. I believe it's the first one. It's really good. I really liked it. And if you know or don't know or follow along, I made a video recently, but it's been all over the news. Hollywood is on strike. The actors have now joined the writers. This article is saying basically that Netflix may be able to escape, relatively better than other studios. But I do want to caution you, you may see changes depending on how long this strike goes. For example, and I'm not into this stuff, but everyone likes what they like, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with this. But I guess Netflix has this show called Untold, and it's basically a sports documentary. So if you're into, Jake Paul, and you want to watch a documentary about him, or you want to watch Johnny Football, which was the quarterback was Johnny Manziel, and I think he basically partied too much, and other stuff. But if you want to see more documentary type stuff, you're probably going to. The other one you're probably going to see a lot more is reality TV kind of things, right? Because you don't necessarily need writers or directors in the same capacity. I'm not into the whole reality TV craze, but I get it. From a studio's perspective, you don't have to hire expensive people, and it's cheap. But I prefer more, narrative content. That's just me. But I get it. And I want to mention this one as well. And this is something that's been a real big news here in Korea. Netflix is actually investing a ton of money into Korea, $2.5 billion. And a lot of my friends are major beneficiaries of this because I work in the film and TV area or industry, if you want to say. And just wanted to mention that, you may see more Squid Game and stuff like that. So essentially, you can produce very, very good content here in Korea, and you can even argue better. I mean, Squid Game is fantastic, and there's a lot. It's not more than a Squid Game. There's a lot of fantastic stuff coming out here, music and movies and TV. And so you may see more on Netflix, more international content. You may see more reality content, and sort of a move away from stuff that you've seen in the past, which I think is interesting moves. Because, like, for example, this is The Witcher. We've been watching this, but season 3 has been really poor. I just don't like it. Season 1, season 2, I thought was pretty good. And it was interesting too. I saw this article is are they having viewership issues? This was suggesting that there's a 30% drop in viewership of season 3. And my understanding, and you guys have been following the story, Henry Cavill is leaving the series, and that might have created a lot of negative buzz. He's actually going to go and form his own thing. He's going to be doing Warhammer 40K, which is pretty cool. And I'm a big fan of Warhammer stuff. So we'll see how that turns out. And I believe that's with Amazon, I want to say. However, to be fair to Netflix, like I mentioned, they're doing all kinds of stuff. I actually really like this thing, Nimona. I read the comic when it came out over 10 years ago. Me personally, this is the best thing I've seen all year. So if you have Netflix and you haven't yet seen Nimona, you should check it out. I'll just will mention very briefly the sad thing about Nimona, though, is the people that need to hear this message the most, the story of the movie probably will understand it. And it's sad. And it's kind of similar to when I make, videos about the Tesla stock pumpers, the people we need to, hear that message the most, they don't understand it. So what can you do? But all I can say is, please check this out. Nimona's great. Black Mirror is great. And Korean content on Netflix is great. And, we will see changes happening in Hollywood. I'm with the writers and the directors. I hope they get what they want. And one of the big issues is that that they want studios to promise that they won't use AI in the future. And just think of it this way as a real big point of contention is like, once you scan someone's image, can you then use that and own their image for perpetuity, right? And, just use their voice, etc., and have AI completely replace people. So I think that's a really fascinating that may happen in the future. But, for those people who value your own work and your own voice and your own face, this is something that I think we'll keep an eye on. Things change in the world. I remember Blockbuster Video used to be a thing. We used to go there all the time. I want to say Tuesdays, it was like $5, and it was like you get 5 videos for $5, but they all closed. And, Netflix, certainly, I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon. They're going to report their earnings. I believe it's tomorrow. And they actually lost subscribers. This was back in quarter 2 of 2022. But evidently, the estimates are they're going to be gaining 1.77 million, but we'll see if that ends up being the case. So this is the estimates of where their growth is. It's definitely slowed in 2020. You guys can see this. Everyone was signed up for Netflix. But, if people don't want to pay for it, because I was thinking about this when Microsoft essentially is saying, hey, if you want AI, we're going to raise prices on you. I wonder if Netflix will follow suit and say, hey, with inflation, we got to charge you more money. If you ask Wall Street what they think about Netflix, actually, I don't have it here, but just trust me, they you can see it, they say it's a moderate buy, and the consensus is roughly 10% downside. Sorry, I don't have the actual thing on there, but sometimes I screw up on this stuff. This is a live show, but their last earnings report, this was Netflix. Revenue was up 3%, operating expenses up 2%, but their net income was down 18%. Net profit margin down 21%, earnings per share down 18%, and EBITDA down 11%. So this was their last earnings report. So we'll see if this one comes out better this time. It has been pumping. If you bought Netflix at the right time, if you were able to time that, you've been on a fantastic run. PE ratio of 50, which is a bit high. So we'll see where this thing goes. And if you ask the robots, what do you think about Netflix? They say 37% overvalued with a fair value of $327. But that's going to be the name of the game for a lot of stocks in the market. A lot of things seem overvalued. But if they come out with earnings reports and they're making tons of money and they're projecting, hey, we're going to be, using the power of AI, we're cutting our expenses, firing lots of people, and making oodles of profit, maybe it's worth it. I personally think it just seems like everything's so expensive right now when you look at traditional models of valuation. But we live in a market where people are still buying Bitcoin. And not as much as before. I think Bitcoin today was like 30,000, something like that. So, but it's still, a double of what it was when it bottomed out at 16,000. I think it was back in November, something of that nature. But this is where, essentially during earnings season when we get real numbers and see, who's, I guess you could say, who's a faker and who's been telling the truth all along. But a lot of it depends on, will people show up? That's why I mentioned this in the beginning of Microsoft wants to charge you $30 a month for AI. Are people willing to pay it? Yes, you can hype it up, but at the end of the day, you actually need to get money from people who are willing to pay for this thing. So anyway, love to hear your thoughts. And when you want to have these stories, I do appreciate everyone's time. And I'll catch you in the next video.